And we are live. What is going on, everybody? We are absolutely excited to have a very awesome friend, Jonathan Clark, come on in. Amazing producer and musician. I've been listening to his stuff all day long and all day yesterday. Absolutely loving his music. Very talented. And what's going on, man? How are you?
Dude, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for listening, dude. That means a lot, man. It melts my little redneck heart, Like I'm just that's really sweet, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Normally
It's
it's just
great
like
music.
who the fuck is this guy? Like who is this? Who did you send on the show again?
No, we do our research, buddy. We do our research. We are very interested in we
Nice.
love music, and so when we hear good music, it's just so exciting to get in front of somebody who's doing it, and we're like, yeah, we want to bring it out because there's so much. And so he's on Spotify, everybody, and you can catch him. Actually, I would follow the link from Click Limon. So
Yeah.
click
You gotta say it with a French accent.
CLIQE
It's
Limon.
limon. Yeah.
Lemon.
And that is on Instagram, and then you can follow his Spotify, and absolutely amazing.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Great music. And of course, we've got James. What's going on, James?
Hey, not much. Yeah, thanks for joining in, Jonathan. I've actually just recently been listening to most of your stuff from with Kiki, the skirt and
Oh, nice,
shorts.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
listened to a lot of that today. So,
Yeah, Kiki's
um,
terrific, man.
yeah, I've enjoyed that too. But yeah, I
Nice, man.
like the whole style of it.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, that's a fun project, man, and that's one where I mean, she's just such a great person to work with. She's it's funny, man. You meet people that are like having trouble, like oh nobody will listen or got shit to complain about, and she's one
Right.
man. She's a go getter, dude. She works her ass off, and she's like serious as hell about her craft, and it's great to be around people like that. She's awesome.
I found
Is
that
this
through. If anybody wants to look at it, I found that through. I think it's on SoundCloud. I was going to listen to it earlier on SoundCloud. If you all want to listen to the skirts and shorts, that's what it's
Nice,
called.
man. Well, that
skirt?
skirts and shorts should also be on Spotify. So let's get our
Okay,
streams up.
gotcha.
Nah,
Yeah.
SoundCloud's dope though. I love SoundCloud.
SoundCloud's actually you know what, I've been finding people on SoundCloud. My dad, is everybody saw a couple weeks ago, he's on SoundCloud all over it. And
Yeah,
so then it made me
Yeah,
started doing research into who else is on there. And there's so many indie artists that are not on regular Spotify or any of the or
yeah.
Apple Music or anything. And so you can find some really unique, really wonderful musicians out there. Is this Kiki the guitarist, or
No, that's a different
who is
Kiki,
the
but she's
Kiki that
dope
we're
too. This
talking?
is Kiki Holiday, and the
Okay.
name of the project is Skirts and Shorts.
Oh, how
And
cool.
it's yeah, boys and girls, whatever, he's and hers and thems, and it's whatever you want it to be. It's cool. And but yeah, I think Nicole was like, we identify as them. She was like, that's what you
there
guys
you
should put in the bio. Yeah,
go. There you go.
yeah.
That's
So we're
awesome.
into it, man. Yeah, but
Cool. So we're gonna go desserts right now, real quick. Before
yeah,
we gotta talk about we gotta change it up because we're all about also food, as people can know by my Instagram.
yeah.
And so first we got to go with James. Did you bring anything for us? Or do you have a favorite dessert that you like to want to talk about?
Oh, I
Look at
got something.
this.
I'm getting it right now. It's being got out of the freezer.
There we go.
Yeah, I had to put it in the freezer, otherwise it was gonna melt. So I had to kind of cue it up.
All right. Oh goodness. And so Jonathan, what do you
Yeah.
got? What do you got, man?
Yeah. Okay, so mine is a little bit of a liquid dessert, but I'm trying to represent you guys in AZ, man. It's a little cactus glass, and it's actually a little silver tequila and a little tonic and a little grapefruit juice. And
Oh,
so, cheers, guys.
cheers. Cheers.
All right, so
See-
did a little bit of I had to wrap it up. So this is I
Oh,
did some white chocolate macadamia nut cookies. But, I
Yeah.
mean, I want the ice cream, so that's I made little ice cream sandwiches.
oh
Yeah.
yes. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so I'm going to tell you that he beat me again. We all know that he is the champion. He is a professional chef. So I'm just going to give him that. He is a professional chef. But I came in with fudge, but it's chocolate peanut butter with the chips on top. Fudge.
What?
Dang, switching that up.
I'm getting serious, my friends.
There was one time where he brought a banana. I'm still gonna bring that up.
I bought the ingredient to banana pudding.
Banana. Can't get over that one.
It's an ingredient of banana pudding. I thought was the best part was like, so I was like, what? And so this is the funniest part about that, because if you watch our show with my dad, what does he do? He's like, he brings a banana.
He took a banana. They had another. They had two. He brought two out.
Yeah, he brought two out. He's like, we were like, hey, you're just taking stuff from your kitchen right now. That's exactly what I was doing. I was like, hey, I think I forgot that I had to go make a dessert today. Banana. So anyway, so what is your favorite? So we got a couple food questions for you, Jonathan, and this is the fun part of the show. So when you're out on the gig, when you're doing a show or you are producing some music, what is your favorite food to eat?
Whew. I would have to say probably in this order: coffee, more coffee, maybe tequila and beer and shit like that. And then for sure, I'm like a fried chicken person. I'm like a dark meat person. I'm a sushi person, like sashimi, like bring all the sashimi. I don't give a fuck what it is, man.
There you go.
Like hopefully it's got like tentacles on
There
it.
you go.
You know what I mean? Like I'm pumped. And other than that, man, I'm pretty easy, man. But man, I love a great sort of like maybe like a black and blue burger kind of deal, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Definitely if you guys are culinary, you know, artists, I'm not really sure what the black and blue thing does, but that is definitely a preferred taste and texture for me. You know what I mean? Even like a steak, like Pittsburgh style, just like black on the outside, like damn near bloody on the inside, you know? Something about that does it for me.
To me, I kind of like when somebody orders or something like that. I don't like. Yeah, I'm not. And to each his own. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fan of it. I'll eat a mid rare medium. You know, had a nice little crust on it. But I'm like, I'm against well doners. I don't like. No, that's whatever. I'm not a fan of the well doners. Definitely not a fan of that. I mean, but. Yeah, when I have to like char a piece of meat, it kind of hurts my soul.
No, well, that's why you got to have the uncharred on the inside, man. It's like a damn Cadbury egg. You know, like, that's all.
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. So I like that black and blue, but it's always like the black and blue burger is like a blue cheese and then a burger, and then I go medium on it. So
burger now. Burger, I'm pretty like let's keep that center of the road, man. I'm not really trying to fuck around with like what do you call it, beef tartare? Like like beef sushi. Nah, I'm not really into that. Well, I guess maybe if it's steak, but ground beef sushi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's a whole different thing.
Good times. What is so what would you say so you brought a wonderful liquid dessert, but what is one of your favorite desserts of all time?
Man, something like a key lime pie, like a lemon pie, like anything like a little tangy, you know. I'm like a dark chocolate guy. I'm not really so much like milk or white or with nuts or any of that stuff, you know, like so I don't know. I'm actually really curious, like what would my flavor palette profile be, you know, like if it were
I was from South Carolina. I was going it was from South Carolina. What would that be if that's, but you sound like you've been around, you know, you have a robust taste. So you're
I'm thankful to be married to my wife, man. She grew up in South Florida, which James, you're in Florida? Yeah. What part?
I'm in like the Midwest. I'm like I'm south of Tampa. I'm in it's called Bradenton, so it's near. He's familiar with it. He has
I know
family.
exactly what you're talking about.
Sarasota and stuff like that. But yeah, Bradenton.
Yeah, I love it,
Gotta
man.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she grew up in Boca, which is near like Fort Lauderdale and stuff, and
Okay.
so they got sushi, man. I mean, they're right there on the damn ocean, like I'm
Oh yeah,
sure you
love
guys,
sushi.
yeah, and her dad is like just, I mean, like you can try and cook a meal, but he's the guy that would just like go over your shoulder and just like throw little spices and shit. You know what I mean? He's like backseat cooking, but that's his like love language. You know what I mean? It's like cooking a great meal for you. And my wife is like that too. She's like, she wants to cook, some serious stuff for you. And she's totally into recipes and stuff, man. I mean, she'll cook up like just straight up like Indian food, or like her family's from Lithuania and Germany, and so she'll cook some of those meals. Bro, the Germans got it fucking right, man. They'll just have like a baking tray of just feta. You know what I'm talking about? Like just feta cheese. Just like cool.
It looks like it's cheese on, right?
That's it, dude.
But 18. So you just told us a little fact about you've been married how long to your wife?
Dude, 18 years. Yeah, we got married at 23, man. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That that is awesome in these days and age. I mean, especially when you're young like that, 23 and still moving. That's awesome, and still enjoying the food. That's even better. Like I have to say that if your wife can, when you go, oh yeah, can you make that thing again? Or like I've already had that thing like 50 times just like this month. I've had that thing I've already had that. Can you make something? But when they're into food, I love. So that's the one thing that is hospitality about probably even me and Chef is the fact that both of us are about giving that type of experience. I love cooking. I'm more about grilling these days. But I love the thing that goes into all the love and the passion that goes into food making, because it's an art in itself. It's a culinary art, of course, but I think that it's actually its own love language. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you talk about like an art into itself, and there's also people just like other arts that just have like a natural affinity for it. You know what I mean? Like they just like right out the gate, man. They're just like, I don't know, and just throw it in, and you're like, holy shit, this is the best thing ever. It's like they have the ratios right. Like I don't know, and for me, I'm just like, hope you guys like salt. If I put something, it's always way too fucking salty.
That's how it is with baking. That's how it is with baking. And baking is so I give props to them because you got to be really precise with that stuff. And I mean, if you're a little bit off, it just like goes a big mess, or just to nothing, to crap. And people that do baking and stuff like that is awesome.
Yeah, that's like science at that point, man. You got to get the numbers right. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cooking you can do it by taste or something like that, but with like baking stuff, it's like really, it's really a science.
Yeah. Our neighbor is a huge baker, and our daughters are the same age, and it's pretty awesome, man. She knows like right off the top of her head, because I've been trying to make some magic fucking cookies and shit, and I was like, do I do it with butter, like coconut oil, like vegetable oil, all this stuff? And she's just like, well, you can exchange this for that, and that should be okay. And it's cool. It's like having like a life coach, but it's for baking. You know what I mean? Just to make space cookies. It's pretty awesome.
Very true. And it's always better when somebody else makes it, because it always tastes better when you make it. I'm saying when somebody else makes it for you, it's 10 times better.
Yeah, like it's summertime, fresh out the lake, man, and your grandmother makes you a ham sandwich and the mayonnaise and the fucking dude, and just like there's never been a better sandwich in your life.
Best sandwich.
Yeah.
Especially from grandmas. I don't know what it is. I think grandmas just have a special love connection with this food that they're making. Because when you're like, you made me a ham sandwich, and I know that it's just deli meat that you bought out of out of Kroger's, but you made it, and now I'm thinking this is the best sandwich because grandma gave it to me on a plate.
Yeah, you can make it, and it's like whatever. It's a sandwich. Yeah. They make it. It's like gold shining on a plate.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like the commercial, where the meat is like a wavy like figure eight or
like
something, Yeah. Like our dumbasses just pull it right out the pack. It's like still stuck together,
Yeah. We bought a bunch of Costco meat, and that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, how can I make this look a little better than but I am just going to eat it. So I'm just going to do this. I got to get back to work.
There you go.
But
I feel you though,
so Jonathan, I'm going to tell you that I'm impressed with your music a lot, like very
Thanks, man.
impressed. And this is what made you go into this? Like, what got you going into doing what you're doing? I mean, it's amazing music, but how did you get to this point? I know it's a long journey, but what got you started? Was there, early on?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Both my mother and father are musical, and they split up when I was younger. So like, every now and then it's like my mom would be playing piano and singing in the house, and she had like an old like cheap like Kimball like spinet piano, and um and it was kind of crazy because it was like the piano is always there. I mean, you see it every day of your life, you know what I mean? But only every now and then does mom play. And she's one of those people that's like very, very natural. Like she couldn't tell you like major from minor, but she can just about fucking hear any song and play it. You know what I mean? Like she's just she understands, the chord relationships, and will at least like just even if she just naturalizes it to it's like it's in C or an F, something that's like you can just, kind of hear the changes or whatever.
Right.
And so I had that, and she would also write too, but I kind of didn't really understand the depth of that until I got older. And then she told me, she written when she was younger and like, maybe, got upset with a boyfriend, like threw her lyrics in the fire, shit like that. And I was like, oh, my mom's like super emo. Quick fact, also too, she definitely had like a 78 Monte Carlo and like had fucking fiery red hair. And I would definitely be in that car going 118 miles an hour, listening to fucking Bon Jovi's "Slippery When Wet" on a cassette tape.
Oh yeah,
and so if there's any sort of attitude, I definitely got it from her. You know what I mean? But and then my dad played guitar, and he also ran sound, and he did like amplifier repair and stuff like that. And that was all kind of like, sometimes full time, sometimes part time. But like I said, bouncing back and forth when you're younger, you're not really, you know what I mean? Like the idea of a career isn't really something that you kind of can put together yet. I still can barely put that shit together, to be honest, man. But anyway, so yeah, I would, spend like maybe every other weekend at my dad's house, and every now and then I'd wake up, at like 7 a.m. to him playing fucking Van Halen through like a art preamp and like, like a rolling jazz chorus or something. And it was like I recognized that it was dope, but I also was just sort of like, what in the hell? Like, this is too early to wake up to loud ass guitar. But I was in the second bedroom, and guess where the guitar rig was? Second bedroom, right? But he also too, man, it was kind of funny. I mean, if you think about a guy like, so at that time he would have been somewhere in his 30s, maybe 40, and he still got like, Pearl Jam 10 when it came out. He still got like even like fucking Tone Loc, like Loped After Dark or something. Like I remember he got that because he was also, he was working, like I said, running sound at like clubs and stuff. And so I think you get a feel doing that for like what makes people get up, like, and it's like, you can talk shit about a song all you want, and then the DJ puts it on, and then every woman in the room gets up and dances, and you know what I mean? And like, okay, that works, like, so I think he had a thing with that. So kind of growing up in that environment, but he's a hi-fi dude too, man. So like, I remember, he got, not when it came out, because only Bill Gates could afford it then, but like, a CD player, maybe like late 80s or something, like maybe like 88, 89 or something.
Right.
And put, like Dire Straits' Money for Nothing, which I think is one of the first fully digitally recorded albums, even though they're using tape machine, they're using 3348, like the digital tape machine, right?
Yep.
So, so that was the thing. It's like this whole thing was, birthed in digital, and here we are listening to it in digital, and and that's still, dude, Money for Nothing. That's the best guitar intro that's ever happened.
I totally agree with you.
Every time I hear that song, I think it's what's funny that you mentioned that is that on my channel, like if you go back to like some of the first stuff I put up, and I was just goofing off. I knew nothing about YouTube or whatever. I think it was goofing off. There's me just like kind of lip syncing Money for Nothing. I swear to God, it's in my channel somewhere. It's like the
we gotta go find it. We gotta go find it.
Nice, man.
But it's got me like, I think I'm actually clean shaven. I don't even think I have anything. I might have like a goatee. That's about it. And
nice,
but yeah, glasses on and singing Money for Nothing. Because every time I hear that, even the guitar riff or breakdown or whatever, it just gives me chills. Just the whole song, it gives me goosebumps.
It's a
Yeah. So
great
yeah,
song. And
it's up there.
what I like
So
is that little
after
intro that he
this,
does.
after this, check
dude.
after this, go to my channel and check it out.
No, I'm gonna check it out for sure, man.
Somebody actually pointed it out like a while ago. Like they commented on it and they were like, "Oh, awesome. This is gold. This is gold, or this needs to be redone, or something like that." Yeah, it's up there somewhere.
What I like about it is that it started that whole. To me, that was like the first few times that you heard a keyboard coming in and have that kind of percussion section. And then all suddenly, the guitar distortion on that was unique too. It wasn't just like straight out of the amp. It had some pedals behind it, and it was just really a good sound, I think. And it's still one of those ones where you're like, I know I've seen it, and people just still cheer for that, just for that solo, waiting for that solo to come on. You know, it's just awesome. Dude. Yeah.
Even now, I'm just like kind of in my head right now with it. So
yeah. It's funny because I think every guitarist knows how to play that song just because they're like, that was one of the best. And then you're just like, how did he do what was the distortion on that one? What was the pedal he used?
I feel like for me, man, that's got to be like a cocked wah. You know what I mean? Like the wah pedal's on, but it's just like stationary, like in a weirdo position, you know? And he's also a fingers guy. You know, like he's not a pick guy, he's a fingers guy. So that's going to give you like a different sound.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you're right with the 80s thing. It's like, I mean, was it like a vintage Strat? Probably not. It was probably like some super Strat with like a Floyd or Kaler or something on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was probably just a psycho rig altogether, you know? But who knows? I mean, I'm sure we can find it out real quick. But
that's what you got to do. There's some guy that goes around and does rig things. He like
the rig rundown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I watch that all the
that,
time. Yeah, I love that guy. He's like he's run a lot of them. He's been the technician for. Yeah. So it's just really cool to watch that. Yeah. And that's where actually I like either that or I try to figure out through like, well, do you have a line 6? Is that what have you got one of those yet?
No, I had the rack mount line 6. There's like a red one for guitar and a black one for bass, like, you know, years and years ago. I've had friends with Kempers. I really like that. But my dad still does actually build amplifiers. So, I mean, I have like, you know, point to point hand wired like Tweed Deluxe. So I'm just like, I mean, I have an isolation cabinet. So I'm very fortunate, man. You know what I mean? Like I've been accruing this shit since I was like 15, you know, like I got that amplifier when I was 15, you know? And so it's just something that's like, dude, the modeling shit, the digitaling shit is pretty unparalleled. And especially if like you couldn't turn anything up, like I think that's probably your best option. It really, really is. Also the recall nature of it, like you get something dope, you can save it. Because you know, in the analog world, that's just not a thing. You can try to put a little grease pin on it on the knobs, but it's never really quite the same, you know.
Right.
But no, that being said, man, those Kempers are dope. I mean, the Line 6 is dope. I think the Axe Effects is dope too. I don't know if you guys mess with those, man. They're all so sick. But also too, just like a damn Sans amp, you know, is awesome, you know. And then if you have other, you know, delay pedal or fuzz or whatever you're playing.
Yeah, I've been really playing with a lot more pedals these days. When I first started, I was just all about AC/DC, just playing Marshall amps straight through with just turning the gain up. And then now I'm buying pedals and interested in purchasing like more stuff. So yeah, it's really fun. I enjoy the whole guitar stuff. Amps though, man, I'll tell you, amps are fun. Amps are fun because like, especially when you think about how the difference between the different styles that have come out, you know, you have I'm still a tube I'm a classic guy. I like the tubes, but I just think there's something about the hum. It's funny that you brought up that Art preamp. I still have an Art preamp. So that was my first preamp that I had when I started doing this before I got a cloud lifter for my mic. But totally fun. But I still think that tube sounds great. It just has a nice sound to it. What's your favorite amp?
I mean, definitely like any of the Tweed series, man, like a Tweed Deluxe, like a Tweed Pro with a, you know, like a 15 in it, maybe like a Fender Super Reverb 210, something like that. I also like a Vox, man. Oddly enough, it's a very cheap amp, but it was like an AC5. That was an incredible little amp. And I also, past few years have been on like a Jazzmaster. And so something about that pairs nicely too, you know? Because you know, like the way like a Les Paul hits something versus a Tele is a little different, you know. and that Jazzmaster's not quite either. It's somewhere in between, you know, as far as the output. Yeah, little Voxes, man. That's a killer little amp. And then I got friends local here that are, you know, playing through like Tyler's and Divided by 13s, Morgans, and I mean all that stuff. They're all great. I'm with you, man. The tube stuff is definitely got a thing, but it's funny how much going from like maybe like a, you know, a tweed type circuit to like a silver face Fender Twin or something, like that shit's stiff as hell, dude, and it's so damn clean, you know. Like I remember I saw Junior Brown. I don't know if you know him with the Get Steel. It's like half guitar, half steel or whatever.
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
And dude, he had two of those silver face twins on stage with the silver cone JBL. So you're talking about like 200 watts of just clean fucking guitar, just like melting your face, and it's clean. Like there's no breakup. So that's a whole different thing to where like a tweed, it's like by the time you turn it up or turn it on, it's like already distorting and saturating and compressing, and you know what I mean, like a little champ or something, or you know, like it's just it's crazy. So there's definitely a spectrum within the whole thing, you know.
Right.
It depends on the, and it's like what you're saying, because it depends on the sound you're going for.
Yeah,
and the song that you're going for. So when you're thinking about, so you also are a keyboardist, and that's where I see you really kind of excelling at. I mean, I didn't know you played guitar as well, but you knew guitars for sure. But the question I have for you is like, what got, so you had the piano around you all the time, but your keyboard style is just great. I mean, it just sounds like, did you have lessons? Did you just pick it up? What is it when you start playing keyboard? What does it do for you? How are you doing it?
Okay, so keyboard is like kind of like it's well, how about this? You know, when you play guitar, it's kind of like if somebody like hands you a Strat, like you're already going to put it in either 2 or 4, and you're going to start playing either Hendrix or Stevie Ray Vaughan or Leonard Skinner, or, you know, just something that sounds like a Strat, right? You know, somebody gives you like a Telecaster, it's like on the bridge, and it's just like, let's chicken pick our fucking face off, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe like a Les Paul or, you know, something like that, you know, you're just like playing like Boston or something. I don't, you know what I mean? Like it's like these instruments have a certain like a whole repertoire or you know, like thing associated with them. And I feel like on keyboard, I mean, I get the theory of it, but to be honest, man, like my eyes still cross like a little bit looking at it, man. It just does not necessarily make sense, you know? And so you kind of have to go on like, oh, this is like a good musical idea versus this is a pentatonic lick that I've known my whole life, or, you know what I mean? Or like, so, and we've been kind of like trying to, you know, come up with this new phrase, man, like, you know, like, man, you meet people that got like a lot of chops, and you try and write like, say, like a pop song or something, and it becomes Chop City. And it's just like, bro, like, you know, I don't know if we're ready for another Prince yet. Like, I don't know if we could handle it. You know, the closest we got is Bruno Mars. Maybe everybody needs to just chill out, you know? Anyway, you know, so you revert to telling them to like dumb it down, which I think is a little kind of like, would you call it like reduction? You know what I mean? Like it's just sort of like,
I totally know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not dumb or stupid to play less. And also, whatever concepts they have or whatever they're hearing isn't completely non-applicable either, unless they, you know, turn it inside out. Like that's not the case. So we've been saying like, sing it down. So like, dude, stop playing, like sing the riff. Can you sing it? You know, because you can sing Black Dog, right? You know, you can sing Whole Lotta Love. You can sing Purple Haze, right? You know, so, I mean, I think that's what makes stuff work. So with the keyboard, it's just sort of like, it kind of gets me into moments like I don't have the facility to really do anything that cool or acrobatic. So I have to do something that's singable or musical or, you know, like, hopefully. But I appreciate you saying that, man, you know?
No, but it's good. It's good. Great stuff. And I can hear now when I'm listening to I saw some of your Instagram pieces where you're in your studio and you're playing some keyboard stuff. Is that, and then you're throwing it and mixing it with some others, you know, how many levels deep are you going when you're doing this mixing?
Well, as far as the keyboard stuff, man, I tell you, if you've seen anything that sounds like synth bassy kind of, like I'm really just trying to be like in the Gap Band, you know what I mean, or Cameo or something like that. You know, that's like kind of what I'm echoing, some of that sensibility. Right. But it's not uncommon to have like you know, like a guitar line that's double with a you know, like a electric bass. Stevie Ray Vaughan called it Tommy Shannon on the Fender P bass, or what do you call it, the Fender bass. Like it's not an electric, it's the Fender bass.
Right, right.
Anyway, funny. But anyway, you know, and then double it up with the synth. You know what I mean, like the synth bass. And then sometimes it's like synth bass layered with horns, you know, brass and stuff. Is that kind of what you're asking?
That's what I was looking for. Is like when you're layering them, you're putting synth bass, and maybe you're doing some mixing where you're at. But sometimes I've heard like within sounds, they'll do like 3 or 4 different layers of different sounds and type inside the same like synth, where it's just coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. So within the synth, I mean, the best you can do on an analog one is you usually got a couple of oscillators, which one could be a square wave or saw or something like that. So you can get a couple of different layers on that. But most of the time, you kind of have to like, if it's in the computer, you know, like you maybe would duplicate the patch on a brass track, you know. And when I say brass, I mean like tuba, trombone, you know, trumpet, something like that. And you know, and you kind of have it all, you know, firing the same stuff, but I tell you what, something with bass, man, you start layering it too much. I feel like bass and kick drums both. I mean, you know, every tutorial is like, you know, like layer your kick drums, this and that. And it's like, yeah, you do, but like more than 1 or 2 or 3, like you starting to, especially on bass stuff, you're gonna mess with the phase so much or just the timing of things. It just becomes a mess, man. It's so you kind of got to watch the layering of some of that stuff.
Right.
I think other people feel different, but
well, where do you start at? When you're starting a music piece, where are you starting at? Are you starting at the percussion, or where are you starting at the drum? Or are you starting?
It's kind of different, you know. Like for me, my go-to is I recently in the past couple of years got like a nylon string guitar, which is nice because it feels. Number one, it's not as annoying as shit as some asshole just like strumming his face off.
Right.
But you know, it's kind of got like a nice, smooth sort of, you know, texture to it, and I like, and it kind of feels somewhere between bass and guitar. You can kind of play fingerstyle and kind of get a little bass feel here and there, and it's like,
right.
And again, the neck's really wide, so it's like I can't really play that great on it, so it forces you to be musical, and I like sitting out on the porch. I might have like, you know, like a beer or a smoke or a coffee or whatever, you know, and just like, you know, sitting out on the back porch and just kind of mess with something. I like watching TV and starting with something, you know, just like kind of playing around. And then, but that's, you know, for stuff that like, I guess I'm starting, and maybe sometimes I have an upright piano in my room. It's like an old spinet. It's like right there. Can you see it?
Oh yeah.
It's like a
yeah.
It was actually a gift from a friend. That came from Florida, man. That came from Boynton Beach, I think. But anyway, or maybe Delray Beach. But I like sitting at it too, you know, and trying to like get some ideas out, and you know, singing early on. And a lot of times I have my phone, you know, I'll be using like Google Docs for the lyrics, which is nice working with people, you know, be able to share. And just using the voice record. If I get something that feels like something, you know, just kind of, you know, jot the memo down. But that's kind of like for me. But then, you know, sometimes I get a request for some of the, you know, the TV stuff where, you know, it literally might be like, hey, you know, we do like this Bruno Mars song. Can you give us something that feels like this? And so that might start with, I call up, you know, Greg at GC, and I'm just like, hey, do you guys got a fucking talk box in stock? You know, so it could, you know, because sometimes, you know, some music is so aesthetic driven as opposed to like a lyric or melody. You know what I mean? It's like, of course, it's going to have lyrics and melody, but maybe it is more about, you know, having a talk box or like, you know, like trap music, just having some really bent, you know, like flute or altered kind of melody, and just, you know, having those like gnarly 808s, you know, on the kicks. So it could start all kinds of places. And man, a lot of times, I tell you what, man, you were asking about Kiki Holiday and that Skirts and Shorts, man. We did one song. It's out through a different thing, so I don't know if you've heard it, but it's actually, we're like in the kitchen taking a break, and man, I think my wife had some yogurt out or something, and it was just like just said peaches and cream, you know. And so we were kind of thinking about like in Forrest Gump when, you know, when he says like Jenny, you know, like, and he's like, you know, we go together like peas and carrots. Yeah. So we started peaches and cream, and it was like we go together like peaches and cream, you know. And so You know,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, in the field of observation, chance favors the prepared mind, right?
Yeah.
Do you know, this is what's amazing to me is that, and so I come from, I think you know Nicole, of course,
Yeah.
and she's probably told you a million stories. So, my dad is one of those people, and we met him a couple weeks ago. He came on the show, and he's on actually live right now, chatting with us.
Yeah. He's all right.
Nice.
Thanks
Hi,
for
Dad.
thanks for coming on in. But I will tell you this, that when you're around it all your life, it just happens for you. You just realize that kind of, you just start now. Guitar is my thing. That's where I
Right.
compose at. I compose on the guitar. I'll it's different riffs, different, you name it. I've been playing it a long time, so there's different things that you just start creating, and you just start, either it's a bass pattern maybe you're thinking of, or you're throwing
Yeah.
some. And I really get into blues, so I just really kind of jam with blues.
Nice,
But
dude. Who's some blue guys you're into? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I'll bring you back, but who's some blues guys that you're into?
my favorite, I'm a BB King fan. Who doesn't go wrong with
Yeah.
him? But
Yeah.
I'm more of that Memphis blues.
Yeah.
Some of the older stuff like Tommy Lee Hooker. Absolutely love that stuff. And I love the fact that these guys came in with like guitars that were barely functioning. And
Yeah.
you see they were out there in Memphis just barely you come in, and they just play amazing stuff. I'm thinking Manish Boy when I think of that kind of like just that incredible sound that just is, they're hooting and hollering and just amazing blues. And I think in blues riffs are a little bit harder than just playing rock, but
Yeah.
and so I think that you have to learn a little bit more jazz chords, but also what goes with, because blues is definitely a different scale in some ways, but it's also that
Oh yeah.
emotion. I
It's
think
the
blues
gateway
for
to
me is
jazz, man,
about,
for sure.
yeah, and it's also emotion for me. What blues is that thing where you play and you can feel this is my day. Blues is my day. This is
Yeah.
I'm feeling it, and I'm just feeling. I lost my woman. No, I didn't lose my woman, but I lost something.
Yeah. I don't know. You
You
lose your
know?
favorite pen, man. Damn, that's hurts.
Got to play
Dude.
some blues.
Yeah.
You got to play some blues.
Yeah. Yeah. No, dude. Are you into Derek Trucks at all, man?
I have not heard him. No.
Dude, okay,
I'll have to
you
go
got
check
to
him
get
out.
into Derek. In my personal opinion, I don't think there's a dude paralleled on slide guitar. But
Oh.
when you were just saying about like the universalism, I guess that's the right word, of like the blues and all that stuff, he makes a very interesting point, because he has like a little interview, and he's talking about learning like Indian music. And like, I mean, I think he goes to India, or he's got like a guy here or something that is like an authentic dude. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
like we have like blues or folk songs or whatever, and they have like ragas, I guess. Is that the right word? It's like it's their kind of like folk, like just a song.
Oh,
Or a
Yeah.
concept, And I'm sure I'm butchering that. Hopefully the comments will correct us. But anyway, but it's interesting, man. He actually says, he goes, man, it's really the same as the blues. He's like, it's like, one's from the desert and one's from the Delta, and it was just like, oh my God, that was like just the most profound thing, and just like connecting everybody. So when you say that emotional thing, I mean, I think you're right, man. Everybody can feel that. And that's why I feel like every now and then you're just going to get a blues top 40 song. You're just going to get one, just like it'll be time, and one will come out, and or heavily influenced by that,
Well,
What was the name of the artist?
R&B.
Derek Trucks. And he's got a band called the Derek Trucks Band. Yeah, and he's, man, if you haven't heard of him, man, it'd be a real interesting story to kind of go down and see his whole, like, where he came from. He's just one of those kids that's a guitar kid, but also his uncle is Butch Trucks and the Allman Brothers.
Oh, okay.
So the lineage there is and he's married to Susan Tedeschi, which is like, what an incredible vocalist, and player, writer, everything,
The Derek Trucks Band. Yep.
I'll check them out. Yeah, check them out later on.
And it's amazing, you know, and of course everybody goes, most people are familiar from blues because of Eric Clapton and,
Yeah.
you know, Page. Those are the most famous. I think even if you go to Jimmy's, you just can't. I mean, just that's the blue. That's where I started really listening to blues because of a lot of the Jimmy's and Jimmy Page's stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Clapton has so many great blues. I mean, just amazing
And
songs.
Muddy Waters was another favorite of mine.
Muddy Waters is absolutely, Manish. Yep. Yeah, good stuff. And those are the things that, this is the one thing that music is, and I think that you're saying this, that the reason probably why you got into music and why we all get into music in some way, and it either being the listener or being the player, is that it connects. It connects feelings, emotions, and you connect with your audience, but you also are connecting with yourself and learning. I remember my dad telling me a story that when he was a kid, his mom would play some music and he would imagine colors and just, you know, just sitting on his back and just imagining colors and music and you know, just being really connected with the music that my grandma was playing on her, you know, her, I don't remember what piano she was playing at the time. They ended up with a grand, but but just connecting with that. And then that's what got him to start playing when he was 13 or 14, or maybe even younger. I think it was like 8 or something. But he was, you know, but that stuff is what connects you because of the fact that you're feeling it. And then I think for a lot of people, this is what you can say about why you're saying you're connecting when you're composing something. I think what you're saying is that you're feeling whatever you're feeling at that moment, and then it just comes out in whatever your, you know, whatever instrument or whatever lick you're playing at that time. I'm feeling like this, and I'm playing it on the instrument that I'm playing right now.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I fully agree with that. It's also it's interesting too, like you know, you can try to aim for like a certain genre or direction, not only in what you play or write or perform, but also what you listen to. You know, like you mentioned the SoundCloud thing, which is like, it's doesn't that feel like basically like a newer just version of how MySpace felt? Like just stay up all night looking for an indie band, you know, like a you know, like post-hardcore screamo, you know, like whatever the like the weirdo genre, and in some ways you kind of like, that was like the hunt, is not only the music, but like kind of wanting to find something that maybe nobody else had found or something like that, you know? And so anyway, what I'm getting at is you can try to do all that, but then every now and then, man, just a song comes on, whether it's like the radio or commercial or somebody shows it to you or you hear it on TikTok, whatever it is. And dude, it fucks you up. You don't have a choice. You know what I mean? Like you literally cannot choose to be affected or not affected by the song, man. It just gets you, you know? And I don't know, man, maybe that's what I'm like holding on to, is that like one day I'll make somebody feel that way, you know, or shit, maybe you'll make your damn self feel that way. I don't know, you know.
That's the thing about it is that, and I think that you do connect with people. I mean, I connected with your music immediately. I could tell that you were, I could tell that you have spent time, and that's the other thing, that there's so much time that goes into producing great music. I saw, you know, and I think that most people will have to play this. We'll have to play. My dad will have to come up with the MP4 for it, but he played a little piece live for us that he created and composed. Because my dad's a composer, you know, he's like one of those ad hoc composers, makes something on the fly. He did it for our show, and then he put it into Pro Tools, and then because while he was playing, he put it into Pro Tools, and then he made an orchestra out of it. Like he put in I'll start putting the pieces together to make it, and then he put in some other pieces, and then I shared that piece with James, and he's just like, holy crap.
Blown away, because you take something that, you know, here, because obviously it was awesome live stream the way you did it, and even the way you played it, you recorded it on his computer, so that way you can kind of go back to it and edit it or kind of replay it and see how he did or what he did, and kind of redo it how he wants it, and then add whatever to it, which is, it's awesome. It was just awesome. And when he showed me what he did with it, was even more amazing.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about music, is that when you can do those things with, you know, whatever you're playing, especially Pro Tools or Fruit Loops or whatever you're playing, you know, whatever your recording studio is now these days. you can do so much to produce it to where it just is exactly what you were thinking, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. Especially like the level of production that people are at right now, especially coming from like guitar has always been like this thing. It's like a polarizing thing. It's like guitar is cool, then it's not, then it's cool again, and then it's not, and then it is, but only if you do fucking hammer-ons, and then it is, like you just whatever, man. It's always coming back.
Right.
That's for sure. But
Right.
there's even the story of the Beatles, right? The Beatles being told guitar groups were out, right?
Right.
It's like, well, glad they didn't listen. You know what I mean?
Right.
But but that being said, it's like, yeah, Pro Tools or Ableton, FL Studio, like whatever you're using, or shit, just even like an MPC and like or you seen those things like Teenage Engineering, the OP1 stuff like that, the little synthesizers,
Oh yeah.
It's like they're all kind of like workstations, but it's become an instrument in itself. You know what I mean? It's like it's become like maybe on guitar you learn scales or chords or whatever, and then like in Pro Tools you learn how to like reverse things and verify things, and how do you like print something with reverb and then chop it off, and you learn techniques in that as well. That yeah, you're right, man. And it's like, and clearly by like, I mean, shit, what, like late 70s, early 80s, it was already like there's people fully electronic, right?
Right.
Well, exactly. And that's the whole thing. And this is what the game changer is. You're in Nashville, which is, it's still a music place. So you can collab with a lot of different people in Nashville. But you could be sitting in South Carolina or Florida and collab just the same way, because it is all electronic and it is ways, and you have all these abilities to collaborate with people now. And the additional thing is that because of these tools, you can produce music anywhere that sounds amazing. You put it on SoundCloud and it's ready to go today. It's not like,
that's I guess that's also the tough one too, and that can be either encouraging or discouraging. But that like bro, you can do it with GarageBand on like not even an awesome MacBook, like one from like 2010. You know what I mean? Like you like there's just really no excuse. It just comes down to like composition and and again, like you were saying, putting the time in. We're just having a conversation with somebody earlier, man, and we were talking about somebody who's like awesome, but they also wanted to like hang out with their friends. And I was just like, dude, I'm like, I don't know if I really have any friends, man. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, Nicole and James are friends, but like, like not like when you're, like riding around fucking, like in a car, like listening to other people's music while you're smoking cigarettes and getting out of your house, as a kid. Like, I don't know that you really have, relationships like that once you go fully down, unless it's somebody you work with, So maybe that's what makes working relationships so special. Maybe that's why, Mick and Keith have been able to stay together, or like, who knows, man.
Well, it becomes it becomes a brotherhood, right?
Yeah. Nick H wanted to know what you were drinking, by the way.
Oh, well, I just had a little shot of tequila, but this is tequila and a little bit of tonic water and grapefruit juice.
Very nice.
I'm on a grapefruit kick, man. I love grapefruit juice, man.
Me too. What tequila are you drinking?
Dude, it's like very cheap, Margaritaville, I can't complain though. I'll say this, I do like silver, and if I am balling out of control, it's definitely like Patron silver. Although Nicole what's the other one, man? It's like mezcal. Is that what it is? It's like a whole different type of, but it's a similar thing. That's a whole different world, man. And
tequilas are like huge. Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially.
It's
like scotches now. Like I didn't know there was that many types of tequila. Yeah.
As far as the scotch, man, sometime for my birthday, man, somebody got me some of like the Lagavulin, which is what Ron Swanson drinks, and terrific. And then our neighbor Nathan, man, he had some Lafroig.
Lafroig is good.
Right?
Yep. Lafroig,
yeah. And that is just like a liquid campfire down your throat. I mean, it's like...
That's the whole thing about scotch, is that there's so many different varieties depending on where in Scotland it's made, and if it's how much peat is in it, and how, how it's filtered. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. I used to live in England, and we went to Scotland, and we had the chance to go. We toured the Johnny Walker distillery.
Nice, man.
And it was a really cool experience because they explained the whole like different regions where Scotch was from and how they're getting their blends from different places. And it was actually really interesting. There's a lot of science that goes into Scotch making, actually.
Yeah,
I
dude, that's
I
another
watch
one,
videos
man.
on that and like how they make tequila with like the agave plant. It's very interesting on how they make tequila.
Oh, tequila's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've had some really, so I don't drink anymore, but when I was drinking tequila, holy moly, that was like I just really I live in the Southwest, and
Yeah,
there would be single, a place where, hey, we make our tequila just for this bar. And it's
yeah.
someplace in Scottsdale, and you're just like family farm just made for this bar, and it was like $18 a shot, but it was the
wow.
best tequila you've ever had in your life. It was
I
just
believe it, man.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I like the idea of small batch or family and just it's being
yeah.
specific and nobody getting too big for the britches, man. And if you don't
There
mind
you
me
go.
saying so about the drinking and not drinking, man, I also have had points where I've had to like really really dry out. You know what I mean? And
Right, right.
and you know, it's real easy
What
to
a
be like,
band.
like on the screen or whatever and be like, oh yeah, shots for everybody and all this and and super get into it. But man, it's also important too, man. You go too hard, man, and you're a creative, man. You're already a little sideways, right? Like you don't need any
That's right.
help going off the fucking deep end, And
Right.
it is a depressant, man. You will drink yourself crazy if you drink too much, man. There's no doubt about it.
Again.
I'm speaking for myself, but that being said, man, I don't know, man. Like I don't know if you guys are like Christian guys or not, but it's like there's like a verse that says like all things are permissible, but not all things are beneficial. And I always thought that was an interesting one. I'm on the fence about some God shit, by the way. But that being said, I do find the parables very enlightening, and it seemed to ring true across all religions or whatever,
It's
anything like
wisdom.
that.
It's wisdom. Yeah,
Yeah, there you go,
it's
man.
wisdom.
But
Yeah.
that being
Absolutely
said,
so.
sometimes it's fucking time to like celebrate too, man. Like it just is, And I would hate that anybody would be like, I'm celebrating, and they drink a fifth of vodka and crash their car after this podcast. But you know,
Wrong celebrating.
There's, it's always the middle way, right? I'm always about middle way, which is, for me, it doesn't work anymore because I just feel like I don't like the hangovers anymore, to be honest with you. I got
oh
tired of
yeah,
the
dude,
hangovers. I think the
it's the
last
worst.
time I drank really badly and I was just like, I'm done. I'm just done. It was one of those, actually, it was at the bar with the single malt, it was the Spotted Donkey, which made their own tequila. And I just remember that so vividly. And I was just like, yeah, this is not a good night.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do this for a while. This was crazy. And then now it's just like, I don't mind going someplace and my wife will have a beer, but I'm okay with lemonade and hanging out. It's just all
yeah,
about being more cognitively aware is important to me now. And, so but to each their own. I don't definitely
Yeah.
force my wife to say, hey, don't do that. So,
yeah.
um, but I will say this. What is your favorite venue to play in?
I was
Oh
gonna
my
ask like
god.
what I was gonna ask
Go ahead,
about like your
James.
works with like Dashboard Confessional. I found that you work with
Yeah.
or that you were part of that.
Yes. Okay. So I met Chris Caraba of Dashboard about I want to say maybe 10 years ago or so. We were both living in Florida at the time. He was there at the time, and he had just kind of gotten into like wanting to write some different stuff. So we some of the guys from Further Seems Forever. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not, but
Mhm.
that's one of Chris's earlier bands that he sang in, and some of those guys made the connection for me. And so we started hanging out and just working on stuff that was like, I mean, more or less just like folk music, man. And acoustic guitar, thumb pick, banjo, mandolin, all that stuff. And you just started working and writing like that. And I think we both got along really well. We're both pretty serious about wanting to make great music, and we're both, it can be kind of guarded about who we work with, you know what I mean? Like it's a lot to to bear yourself, you know what I mean? And like, and somebody either not get it or even worse, like chomp on you and make a little fun or something, so
Right.
I feel like we hit it off real quickly and started working on some of that stuff. And that quickly Ben Hamola, he's now in Group Love, but he was playing drums at the time. He came by and then Susie Zeldin from the band The Narrative came by, and that turned into a project called Twin Forks. And so we had some good success with some, you know, some placements with some of those songs at the time, and did a lot of touring, you know. We went to like you know, like, I mean, all over. I mean, Chris is a star, bro. He's been everywhere, you know, but like with us, that was my first time doing anything like that. And you know, we went to Australia, you know, and all over the UK and Europe, and, you know, all over Canada. You know, that movie, The Endless Summer, about like chasing the waves. It was like, dude, it was the endless winter touring in Canada. It was just like, just chasing ice, bro, for like 2 or 3 years straight is what it felt like. It's so weird. I do love the Canadians though, man. They're really sweet people, man. I still am in touch with a lot of people that I've met on tour, you know, online and stuff. But anyway, you know, started doing that, and then, you know, we moved here to Nashville and working on more Twin Forks stuff, and then it was kind of gearing up for Dashboard having its 20-year anniversary, and so we kind of started going towards like, well, let's come up with some new Dashboard stuff, and so we started working on and that record became Crooked Shadows. And yeah, that's it. I mean, Chris lives down the street, man. He's not far, and you know, he's got a nice little build out in his house, man. And by build out, I mean we did about the least imaginable possible just to get to work, which is something that I think Chris and I really admired about each other. Is it's like, you know, we could put, you know, 14 layers of drywall in a room within a room, or a room within a room, but it was just like, well, this guitar doesn't sound any fucking different in here, so why would we do, you know, just hit record, man. You know, like I think we both grew up, you know, like recording in garages and shit. So, and just realizing that, you know, the song is king. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it's like, and it's like, and you've heard that dude's voice, just put him in front of fucking anything. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be fine. You know,
that's amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I look up to Chris a lot, man, because Chris is a guy that, you know, believed in me and believed in my craft, and I've learned a tremendous amount about songwriting from him, and also speaking of touring, traveling venues, you know, how to carry yourself, man, and you know, like, you know, I had the benefit of him kind of teaching me how to not act like such a green noob. You know what I mean? Because he had already went through that, you know, years and years and years prior, you know?
Right.
And then, yeah, I don't know. Is it, you got any specifics? Sorry, I'll keep talking about shit forever.
That's fine.
No, I just wanted to know, yeah, some of the works with Dashboard. It was all when I found out that you were part of Dashboard. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, man. And so, well, you know, speaking of like the tools necessary, so AJ Armin J, who's playing in Dashboard, I don't think he'd mind me telling you this, but when I met him, I went to his house, and they were living in like a townhouse at the time, I think. And man, he just had like in the second bedroom, straight up like MacBook Air, KRK 4s or 5s or something, you know, just very, very small monitors, not a very expensive microphone, not a very expensive interface, just like the most sort of like just normal, like you could probably get it all at the Apple store. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of, you know, just normal, right? And then hits play on some tracks, and it's just like, you know, I don't know if you've heard any of his music, but it's fucking epic, dude. And it's like, I mean, I was just thinking to myself, like, here I am looking at like, I got to buy this fucking, you know, $8,000 Moog 1 synth or so, you know, for some shit. And it's just like, here this guy is with like the least amount of tools, you know what I mean? Making incredible music. And yeah, and it's just really the song and the composition, you know. I mean, it's nice. And the performance.
He just has,
but you know what I'm saying? It's like, go ahead.
No, I think that's the big thing about it is that it's about composition. It's about what's putting it in out of your head and into music to where it's. Do you think that you also have to cater it to an audience to where you're like, hey, I think I need to like just nothing. I can't just make whatever's in my head. I have to like make it to where I think an audience will connect with it.
Man, I do think that, but I think that's like a gradual process of, again, some people like, you know, man, you went to school with them, man. There's some people that just like, they walk in the room and everybody's paying attention. What is that? You know, like what, how the fuck, what the hell, how does that happen? You know, but some people just have that, you know? And then I think the rest of us, man, like if that's your goal is to have everybody pay attention, you certainly need to like kind of tailor your approach. Like I do, you know, but then I think there's some people that are just so fucking like a combination of both. Like take like Frank Zappa or something, you know what I mean? Just like how bizarre can you be yet virtuosic, and completely polarizing, but also have like the most cult sort of fucking fan base. You know what I mean? Like, so I do think you got to shape it, but that's it's kind of like what we're talking about with the whole like branding, your podcast or your Instagram account or TikTok or whatever like that. It's just like, okay, like why am I here? What do I want to get accomplished? And I think even a question that simple is something that most people either haven't asked themselves or haven't gotten real with themselves. I mean, some people straight up just want to be famous, and that's cool too. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people just want to like shred. They just want to shred. Like that's it.
Right.
And all that's cool. But I don't think there's any guarantees for any of it, man. I mean, like I said, man, dude, I started playing guitar in like 8th grade. I'm 41, and like, and in a lot of ways, I'm just now. I mean, I've did that stuff with Dashboard. I've toured, a good bit of the world. I guess that's the world. Seems like there's still so much more of the world, though. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't go all over China, right? Like that's a pretty big landmass, right? Asia,
right?
Yeah. Anyway, no, it's and in a lot of ways, I'm still just feeling like, oh man, I'm just getting started. I think I've got this figured out. Whereas over half my life, I've been able to make a living off music. So clearly, I know something about it. But my self-awareness, my perception of am I doing this right or good? Like, I don't know, man. Like, and I think when, like we were talking about having that feeling of making somebody feel something when they listen to something, and you even kind of want to feel that way yourself. It's like kind of because, like when you hit save and you back up the file and you got to work on the next song, you probably won't feel that way again. It's just like, that was just a little glimpse in time, and that's all it was, It's the same way as the first time you heard fucking like Everlong or something, and you were like smoking like Camel Wides or something, like, you know what I mean? And you're in your friend's mom's Chevy Beretta. Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like, that's such a snapshot of time. That's not.
It totally is.
Yeah, you can't recreate that over and over and over endlessly. That's just It's just a glimpse of a feeling, man.
Well, and that's why people, when they go, hey, like and I know I'll take a Metallica reference. Metallica sold out. And you're like, no, they became different musicians. It's not that the music changed, it's that they changed the way that they compose. Maybe they learned something new, something else that they felt at the time, and they changed. Because like, especially what you're talking about, like, you pick up guitar. I have gone in and out of guitar over my life. I've raised kids, got really busy, put down the guitar for a little bit. And then you'll pick up the guitar and start playing some new stuff. And then you'll be like, oh, I really like this. I like this new scale I'm learning, and start playing, some crazy scales that you've never, ever played with before. And then you'll put it down again, and then you'll do something else. And, it is all about mood sometimes, but it's also about where you're at, in your life.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think, too, like, speaking of, like, let's say, like, you're producing an artist or whatever, like, somebody comes in, even if they don't have a song, it's like we're writing something from the ground up. We're working with each other's, sort of like instincts and tendencies and all that stuff. And, it's been my job as a producer to be flexible. It's been my job to be like accommodating, like, but a lot of times the artist is like, you might have like 1% or 1 degree of leeway. You know what I mean? It's like, it's pretty much on its course already. And, you can try some sort of like coaxing or complimenting or being aggressive or whatever you think is going to work. But man, at the end of the day, man, I still kind of feel like it's just that person knows what they want to do. And to say that like Metallica sold out, it's just sort of like, number one, what does sold out mean? Because wasn't like shit off Master of Puppets, wasn't that on fucking MTV? You know what I mean? Like It's like they were already stars, bro. Like they were stars, because we're talking about the Black Album and everything after that, right? When we say sold out,
Right.
It's just like, bro, they were already #1 stars. So there's no selling out to be done. That's just people just like talking shit about stuff. But that
usually sell out, or usually kind of go whatever to be stars, but they're already stars. You know what I'm saying? They're already, who they are. You know what I'm
cringy
saying?
shit is people trying to be stars, and clearly just trying to do that doesn't do it. You know what I mean?
Like
It's
you
like
already
these
knew
guys already
Metallica.
they already had that in their guts, man. You
Yeah.
know, and it's just like,
Right.
dude, sad but true. The fucking
Yeah.
groove on that song, come on, dude. Like that's just what's sold out about that. That shit's still so damn gnarly, man. Like it's so
Right.
Absolutely
heavy.
so.
You know?
Love it, love it. Yeah, and that's what I think that people don't understand musicians when they say that. I think what they're saying is it doesn't sound like their old stuff.
Right.
Why
It's
doesn't
like
this
you
sound like their
constantly
old
want,
stuff? I
yeah,
like
you
their I
constantly
want
want their
everything to
old,
sound like Master of Puppets for the rest of
yeah.
their time of, and
How boring.
there's yeah, how boring. And even, like bands like AC/DC, which they have similar sound throughout, they've changed up. I mean, it still didn't not all of their
Yeah.
albums sound the same.
Also, how about with AC/DC? So the one guy passes. How do you find another guy that is like even more gnarly than that? You know what I
That was
mean?
like
I know.
super, yeah.
And,
Oh my
and
God.
maybe there's somebody
Yeah.
like somebody that's fine, but like that's insane, dude. Like
And he was from
what are
like
they drinking over there? You know?
yeah, well, that's the craziest thing because they're an Australian band, and that
Yeah.
guy's from like Britain. He's from Birmingham, like from where's he from? Bury St Edmunds.
Oh
How do you
wow.
find
Okay.
that guy? So he's like he's a British guy. So Brian
Especially at
Johnson's
that time.
oh
At that
yeah,
time, like what would it take you? Like a month to get a letter or
Right.
something? What do you
That's
do?
like
Right.
You know?
super luck right there.
yeah, it's just crazy. And these sounds, and he made the band sound. I think that the original stuff was awesome, but Back in Black sounded like amazing. That was
Yeah.
the sign. If you think that's the song, and that was Brian Johnson, even though it was written with the original,
Right.
So it's just crazy. It's just, I think that music, I think that you just develop as musicians, especially, and you're talking about producing, but you're also talking about you as a band, maybe, or as a single musician. You develop over time. You develop different techniques. You find different inspirational things that help you. It happens like all the time. And I think I always think of my granddad. So my grandfather Peters said, "You never arrive." You're like, you'll be dead when you arrive. You just
Yeah.
never arrive. And that's
Yeah.
just his quote for life was you just never arrive. You're always learning and doing something else. Otherwise you're dead.
Yeah.
There's something always to learn about life. And there's something always for musicians there's something else to obtain. Always something. And that's what keeps you with that passion and drive.
Yeah. Well, I guess the other thing too is do you remember being younger and just being like you can tell like somebody's got their pants cuffed one way, or even like I don't know if you guys like I was into skateboarding, so we had like Pumas and Adidas with the fat laces and shit like that, and there's like these like subtle little details that you're super into when you're like a teenager or something like that. And I think sometimes as we get older, man, like you really got to make sure you're paying attention because they do notice that. But that being said, like let's move out, like let's zoom out of Metallica. Is Master of Puppets and even Saint Anger that damn different? You know what I mean? Like it still sounds like Metallica, doesn't it? Like I realize the records are a little different, but like, big picture, that's the same damn band, man. Come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Right.
so, and also too, I'd like to admit, like, I might be like, I like the 4th record from a band or like the 6th record from a band. Like, I like that stuff, Like,
I think they're more mature at that stage. Honestly, they're more mature. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
folks that will say that their third, or at least their sophomoric album is usually better than their first.
Yeah. Yeah. For me,
band
man,
has to change with time. I mean, it has to, otherwise they're going to sing about the same stuff that's happening in the 80s or 90s. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's got to be relevant to what's going on now. You know what I'm saying? And it's still going to have the same meaning as it was back in the day, but it's like, it's just with the time. Like, they have to evolve. Otherwise, they're just stuck.
So I wrote down a question for you. What is one of your favorite musicians to work with so far?
I would have to say that like my number one collaborator at the time is Nick Steele. We have a project called MF Graves together, and Nick is just somebody that's like just what a deep well, man. Like one story that just recently happened, man, is we're like in this song we're like thinking about going to like an orchestral kind of section for like a bridge. And bro, he just like, man, he just pulls the patches up and he just starts like just playing the figures, man. And it's like literally in 7 minutes, it's like this pretty goddamn gigantic, like Hans Zimmer-esque like orchestra, like just this massive cinematic thing. And it's just like it's baffling to me, man, because he's the kind of guy that can like hear the changes. You know, I still struggle with that. Like, I don't know if you guys ever get stuck with like, I know technically the difference between the 4 chord and the 1 chord and the 2 chord and the 6 chord, but a lot of times in my mind, like I'll end up writing and I'm like, oh, actually, I'm not on the 1, or oh, I'm not actually on this. You know what I mean? Like
you started off as a 2, or you started off.
Yeah,
with
yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And Nick's the kind of guy that can just like, he can just like hear it all, you know. And it's funny because he's hard on himself, just like we all are about his writing. But watch, he's the one dude always has the one line that ends up, that's the title line, that's the chorus. Thank you, Nick. You know what I mean? So yeah, I love working with that guy, man. He's incredible, man. And again, check it out, MF Graves. That's
Graves, another one.
Yeah, yeah.
See, we have to take notes because we get all this great music. Right. See, and that's the best thing about working with musicians is that you get all of the new stuff that's coming out, or interesting things that you all are working on or with. And sometimes nobody will ever hear it. Sometimes it's just a collab that ends up on SoundCloud. You guys decide that it doesn't need to go anywhere, but we'll go look it up and we'll be like, yeah, totally dig it. Totally dig it. I love it.
I'm the same way, man. I was like listening to this interview with Andrew Sheps and Eric Valentine, and they were talking about I think it's like Smash Mouth and like doing like Walking on the Sun and the cover of like I'm a Believer and stuff like that. And and then I'm listening to the damn Monkees for like 2 weeks straight. You know what I mean? Just I wouldn't have gone back and done that. You know what I mean? I just wouldn't have done it. But it just like, it kind of put it in my peripheral, or whatever you want to say, you know. And a lot of it too, speaking of guitar pedals, they were talking about like, oh, the guitar tone on that section is, the fuzz face, you know. And which of course I got one right after that. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, that's the damn sound, dude, is the fuzz face, you know. And there's a lot of other stuff that'll do it, but it's really just obvious and perfectly like one kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's just
I'm a big Muff Pie fan.
Nice, man.
And that comes from Smashing Pumpkins. That's like my first pedal. I'm a big Smashing Pumpkins fans, and that just is that stadium rock to me. That's just that fuzz and that distortion that just sounds amazing and fills a room.
Can you see that guy right there? Maybe not.
Wait. No, I don't.
I can't see the direction of the camera. Damn it. That's your big muff right there. That's the green military one.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. I got the MS-20 cent running through it right now.
That's awesome.
Pretty gnarly. Yeah,
I love that
almost every day, man.
Yeah, it's a great pedal. Just a great pedal.
Yeah, it really is, man. And it's pretty unique because, not everything that works on guitar works on bass or vice versa, but it does really work on a lot of things, man. I run, like I said, I got keyboard going through it right now, or synthesizer, and man, bass is fucking killer through it. But Smashing Pumpkins, man. We had a moment. We went to go see our friend Dave Riley is the guy that introduced Nicole and James to me, and he actually worked with Billy on some, I don't know if it was Swan or Post Swan, I'm not really sure, but he had some cool stories about that. And anyway, we're listening to that. It's a box set. It's got like Gish and Siamese Dream, and you know what I'm talking about. It's like something
I do know. Yep.
Big box set, and it was so cool, like listening to that stuff, man.
It is really cool, and he was the first when I started listening. He was one of the first interviews that I remember listening to on YouTube, where you're like, this guy is just a musician. He's just like my parents, just eclectic, different. Yeah. The way that he sees music is different than everybody else, and that's the reason why he's so amazingly good. He's very unique because he has like different personalities that he puts together for every album.
Yeah,
and you're like, that's crazy. And the way that his personas that he does for the media is completely different on every album. And then he also additionally, you never know you don't know what his real personality is, because he's just not like that. But that's that eclectic, that fun music thing that is, I love it. Yeah. I was talking to my dad earlier, and he's talking about what he's going to put stuff with, and he's trying to go back 30, well, how long? 50 years, because that means that's how old I am.
It's
like
all right,
40
man. You're just getting started, bro. You're just
right.
getting, I promise you're just getting started, man.
That's
you're doing
right.
good, doing just fine.
So 45. So he'd made an album like 45 years ago, and now he's still re-editing it and making some new music with it, doing some new stuff, running it through Pro Tools, throwing it through. I think he's really talking about Dolby Sound today, because he was talking about the fact that SoundCloud has that Dolby Sound mixer that allows
the Dolby
it to
Atmos. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Yeah. So he's talking about how he's able to do some different levels on it to make the volume sound better or correct some things in it. And I'm just like, that's what you love about musicians. They're just, it's just something to do to diving into that level of granularity that you would never know unless you were hanging out with musicians. Because we'll listen to it on the air and we're just like, oh, I love that song. You have no idea what it takes to get that out. No idea how to produce that stuff. There's so much complexity. And then sometimes it's really simple, like a live album. It was simple, but if you talk, especially with electronic stuff now, there's so much stuff that goes into it. Just even even if you're listening to, I was thinking Guns N' Roses Slash. I've been playing a lot of that. I've been playing that Anastasia riff over and over again. And so I was like, just to get that sound, you have to go through these different pedals and this Les Paul. Especially this Les Paul, this set of pedals, and then this amp.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
And then hopefully you've been listening to everything that fucker's been listening to his whole life, and your sense of vibrato is the same. Or like how you bend a note, the timing of bending. You know what I mean? Just like, or like when they do like the accent, like when you're doing like a pick squeal, you know what I mean? Like everybody's is a little bit different, or like picking in a little bit of, like. It's crazy, man. It's such a complicated
Well, I was listening.
process.
And I was playing some ZZ Top the other day because I was, because of the death of.
So, Dusty, man. Right? It's so sad, man. Right. I was having a ZZ Top renaissance too the other day, man. Tell me about yours, though.
So I was out playing. I was playing Lagrange. Lagrange is still my favorite song. One of my favorite songs. Kind of got me into ZZ Top. And so I was just playing, and I was sitting there, and my wife is like, "What is that noise?" And I'm just like, it's I can't explain it. It's like because like the last solo part of that is just so great, and he's just doing all those little squealies, and you're just like, yeah, you can't explain the pick pat how you create that to somebody else, and also it is very unique with every player. Absolutely,
yeah. Well, he's too. I think Billy is like, isn't he known for playing with like a peso or something like that, like an actual coin?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard something like that. He plays with a peso or.
Is that crazy?
That's a whole different thing for getting a pick squeal out of that, man. You know what I mean? And I think he plays.
I'm so glad that they're touring though, because I already got tickets to go see him, but that was before Dusty Hill passed away. And as soon as he passed away, I'm like, oh my god! It's like the only time I've seen him before. And I'm like, oh, it sucks that he passed away. I wish I could have seen him, all play at once. But I mean, yeah, rest in peace on that one. That was crazy. My mom back in the late '80s met Billy Gibbons.
Wow.
Yeah, like when he came out with because how they come out with the old big old cars and stuff like that, like the big old black Cadillac that they had. They actually got to be there, like the debut of that car. I got pictures of like the engine and stuff like that. The engine has got the ZZ Top logo on it, and like she got a picture with Billy Gibbons.
That's cool.
Dude, that's so badass, man. Yeah. I was like going back and listening, and like, okay, like, of course it's like blues, it's great guitar playing and stuff like that, but dude, Billy Gibbons, his fucking voice, bro, that the way he sings, man, is so good. The melodies are so great, and it's just like, like if we're talking about like the selling out thing. Like, how about like the songs off Eliminator, like Sharp Dressed Man or something, where it's like, bro, there's totally like arpeggiated synth. There's like a sequencer running. You know what I mean? Like, it's the way some of those drums sound. I'm like, I'm not sure if some of that stuff was like one drum at a time or not. You know what I mean? Like the way I just don't know. but some of that stuff is super tight, man. It like super tight. It sounds like on the grid, you know, for that era. And his sense of pitch, man, and his timing, man, is so good. And just his tone vocally, man, like that's dude.
Yeah, he's and it's a one of a kind sound. It's unique.
Yeah, it's
you
unmistakable.
Don't get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know exactly who it is when you hear it, man.
Yeah. I remember listening to, I watched one of those in Netflix, and they were talking about ZZ Top and how they were able to produce the first couple albums. Was like they had to get, because they're just a 3-piece band, so they had to get some more sound out of that guitar, and they were talking about, you know, playing, you know, adding a track to it.
Yeah.
And they were trying to persuade the guy, no, we just want our pure sound, and they convinced a guy to actually, no, let's do another track on it. And that was off their first album. But it's just interesting. I mean, I just love, they have such a great sound, and it's one of those ones that carries. It's it's that, I don't say stadium rock, but it is just unique. And I love the fact that they came from such a diverse, you know, bluesy background.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're really, blues guitarists that have a rock sound. Yeah. I mean, it's just like Jimi Hendrix. I mean, it's just all of that stuff is just so bluesy and awesome. But and it's so technically sound.
Yeah.
There's a lot of technical. I think about that, and that's what's really great about musicians. And talking about dumbing it down, I think he can play amazing stuff, and all these guys can fly. But being able to do the right phrasing is so important. You're absolutely right. Phrasing is everything. Everybody can play some scales, and maybe they'll play it really fast, but phrasing is learned. You don't just pick that up. And it's hard, and it's distinct with every musician, and I think it's feeling, and then also that's what makes them great, is the fact that they phrase it right. B.B. King can play one note, and it sounds absolutely amazing because of the way he's phrasing it.
Oh yeah. Well, also that dude, that BB vibrato, man. That dude.
Oh yeah.
It's just like a, you know, it's just a beautiful voice, man. I think, and speaking of Hendrix too, man, I think his vibrato is like just the most beautiful thing, man. I can't get enough of it. And we were talking about Derek Trucks, man. I think that's another one. It's just like, it's so vocal, and hopefully that reinforces the idea of, instead of dumbing it down, sing it down. Because if that phrase is like, it's like, shit, is that like a strat, or is that like a woman singing? You know what I mean? Right. Like, you know, all of a sudden it's like, now we're talking, man. We're talking about like real music now, not just like guitar shit, you know?
Right. Absolutely. It's cool stuff. Well, it is 6:20 and a lot later than I had thought, but dude, this has been awesome. I love talking
I've had
music.
So much fun, man. Dude, let's do it again if possible. And if I can, I want to add one thing, and it's only because we were talking about Money for Nothing, and we're talking about like that guitar break in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And you brought up Billy, man. Dude, the solo on Cherub Rock, it's like, dude, that's a top 10 for me, man. That is that. I mean, I remember being like a kid just thinking like, they must have literally burnt that studio down when they recorded that, because that's what it sounds like. You know what I mean? Like, it just sounds like that thing is gonna explode, man. And it's just like, and that's one that's kind of like the other end too, of like, that's so unpredictable. Like, I don't know if you can really sing that, but it's just such like, again, you just feel it. You know, maybe people didn't or did not. I don't know, but I think that record did pretty damn well. So I'm guessing most people did feel it. You know,
people got it. Yeah, people got it. That's what was really good about him is that you could feel that entire. I mean, all those albums, just amazing work, and distinctly different in each one. So you can't pick out one that you're like, oh, that's his sound.
Yeah,
they're all different. It's, you know, just amazing good stuff.
Those like my favorite songs are just like, even like now, like when you listen to them, or even songs that you might listen to then to now, they give you those chills, that feeling. You know what I'm saying? That just goes through your body, like, and even finding new songs that pick something out of that song and just like song like over and over, just to kind of to get it's amazing. Like I say, every song I listen to like that, like Money for Nothing, I get chills. You know what I'm saying? Just like, goosebumps on my arms just from listening to that stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, cool. Dude, a flip side of that too, man. It's like So, every now and then, my wife, like, I mean, I feel like I'm a fairly present father, but that being said, like, she still needs a break every now and then. So sometimes it's just like me and my daughter, and we're, like watching TV, and man, I try to like, I'm not trying to force her to be anything, but I want her to see like badass, powerful women. You know what I mean? So it's just like, like I'll put on like a Lady Gaga video or something like that for her. You know what I mean? Just so she's like kind of like, holy shit, these girls are bad as hell. And we put on like Beyonce, like, girls who run the world, right? And it's just like it's just such a gnarly video. The dancing is so cool, like everything's great about it. And she's watching it and I'm watching it and she's dancing. And I'm just like, yeah, man, girls do run the world, like I'm just like, crying. It's like, so it's like there's more for you in music too as you get older. And that doesn't mean that like, you gotta move to anything different. You know what I mean? That was like a #1 song too, but I feel you, man. I get the same feeling watching that stuff, man. The hair stands up, or you get
Yeah.
emotional for no reason. Well, I mean, for a reason, but
Right.
it's
Yeah.
just
Well, that's the one thing. So talking about, I raised 2 daughters,
yeah,
and that's empowerment for women is what I'm all about. I mean, especially when you raise 2 girls pretty much by yourself. I've had,
yeah,
I've had relationships. So their stepmom, but I was the dad. I was their sole parent for a long time, as the biological parent. And for the girls, that was exactly what I was always after, was being able to show them powerful women that were doing amazing things, and knowing that they could. And I have some very headstrong daughters for sure.
yeah,
And that's because I think you allow them to explore that piece of themselves and find that power within themselves, and you want to foster that. And that's such a huge thing nowadays, is to help foster that in your kids, whether it's boys or girls, but specifically for girls, to know you can be powerful and you can be female and feminine all in the same package, and it's okay to be who you are. And I think that
yeah,
keep pushing that envelope. I mean, that's the way my sister is, Nicole, an amazing, powerful female, as well as the kids that I've raised. I mean, my daughter is definitely powerful. She definitely knows what she wants. And especially the one, I have one that works at Disney now. She's in Orlando, and
oh,
she
nice,
is
Nice.
man,
all about Disney. But that's what she wanted. That was her goal, and that's what she wants to attain. And that's a good moment as a parent, when they're able to figure that out for themselves. But they do it based off of our continual pattern, giving them the pattern that this is what you can do. This is what you
yeah.
can do. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, and and trying to be careful too of like it's I heard this saying, I can't remember who it's quoted from, but people don't remember what you do or say, but how you made them feel. And
Absolutely.
just thinking about like as a kid, man, like some of your earliest memories, for me anyway, is like, I mean, fucking shame or ridicule or embarrassment or something like that. You
Right.
know what I mean? You live with that like when you're very, very, very young,
Yeah.
and I try to like, it's funny with my daughter. It's like, yeah, there's some kid on YouTube just as old as her that'll eat her lunch playing classical piano, but like, so what? That's that kid. I'm not going to make my kid feel bad for not doing that. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And then she's got a guitar, man. She comes down here and sings. She plays drums and stuff like that. And I mean, she's a little kid. She's she just turned 5. But that
Still.
being said, it's funny. It's like, well, it's like I could show her all that stuff, but guess what? We go to Guitar Center, and there's like some guy playing guitar over here, and then there's some asshole in the electronic drum set, like it's Guitar Center, right? And
Right.
and she's just like in the middle of the floor. She looks around and then she just starts singing out loud, making up songs. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, like I don't know if I could necessarily teach her that, you know what I mean? But I can surely not make her feel bad, you know what I mean, for doing that in
Absolutely.
public, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and
Yeah.
try to encourage her. And I'm
Some of
fully
my
with you on all that
biggest
stuff.
Yeah, I think some of my biggest failures are just not thinking that I knew best for my daughters at
Mhm.
times. I think that's what I know, that my daughter Charisse, who will, if she ever watches this, she'll be like, "Dad forced me to go to ROTC when I wanted to be a drama. I want to be a drama nerd." And I was like, no, you're going to do, I want you to have more discipline in your life. And maybe it helped her somewhat, but nowadays probably should have just let her become a drama nerd. And I think with your last kid, you just let him, he's number 6, so you just let him do whatever.
Oh yeah, you're like,
somebody
where
asked
is
me
that kid anyway? Where?
So somebody asked me. So my stepmom asked me, "Hey, where's the picture of Caden for his 7th grade? Because he just started 7th grade." And I'm just like, I don't have one. He didn't want to take one. And they're like, "Well, I forced my kid to do that." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care."
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, he didn't want to. Yeah, I'm not going to force him to do anything. I'm beyond knowing that they're just going to turn out how they're going to turn out, and as long as you keep them between the buoys, that's all as a parent you're trying to do. Just keep them between the buoys. Help try to push the education thing a little bit so he can be. But I have kids that are so talented that are amazing. I have one of my stepsons is like extremely talented musically. And he makes his own beats and he's doing all the Pro Tools stuff. And half of my equipment that I got were basically from him saying, "Hey, go here, have this."
You getting your kids hand-me-down stuff?
I am. This set of Audio Technica headphones are from him. I was going to go buy the 150s. He gave me the 140 or the 40s. He gave me, I was going to buy the 50s and he gave me the 40s. And then he gave me I think he gave me this Focusrite 2i2.
Yeah.
Then I did buy the Shure. So I said, I'm going to upgrade, because he gave me like an SM58 or something, but I got the SM7B.
Yeah.
But you can't, for me, that's like, okay, I got the professional equipment. And that's the one thing that you are so dissatisfied when you buy cheap equipment. You're like,
yeah.
You get what you pay for, and you just are like, yeah, you just can't, like, you could buy an Epiphone, but if you can save up for a Gibson, for a SG or a Les Paul, you'd probably save up and get that. Not that they don't sound good, but you're going to really notice a difference.
Oh yeah. Right. Well, it's like the first time you play like a nice like Tom Anderson or Pensachure or like any just like high end guitar, man, and they just got the rolled edges on the frets, man, and it just and it's like it's not just like that the action's low, it's like uniform, like every spot on the net, it's uniform, man, and it's just it's a really nice feeling, man. I think I had some like kind of self-worth issues early along where I was just like, I'm not worth a good guitar. I should just have it, like. And I would do. I still got to battle that, man. I'm just, part of me is just like, again, it's like, like I don't know, like did you play any of those Mosrite guitars that like the Ramones played or something? It's like this. I mean, they're cool. They're cool as shit. I don't know if that's the best playing guitar that the world has ever invented. You know what I mean? Those songs are perfectly fucking cool. Like whatever.
Yeah, and I still have my old. So I have an Ibanez. My first, I still play my Ibanez almost daily.
Well, that's the tough part. An Ibanez is a cheap guitar, but it's extremely well made and consistent. You know what I mean? Like I've never played an Ibanez that I was like, oh, this sucks. They're always good, man.
I know, and I've always been amazed by, because I have a Strat and I'm about ready to buy a Les Paul, and I was like, I still sometimes just like playing my Ibanez. It has a little bit thicker board on it, fretboard, and then also the neck is a little bit thicker, and then. But but there is definitely a difference when you start playing the Strat. It's the sound quality wise, as well as just I just like it. But also, you have to play. I've realized that you also have to upgrade your strings. But just buying Slinkies is sometimes not.
What strings are you playing now?
So I went up to, starts with a D, D'Andro. It starts with a D, but I can't remember. I was Diodero, yes.
Okay.
And then those are like, somebody told me those are better than the Ernie balls all day long.
Yeah.
And so I was just, because I was just used to playing regular Slinkies. That's just what I played. And so, because they were, it's just strings. But you buy a decent pair, and I don't know what my mom came with. Her Strat came with something because she gave it to me, and they were really good strings. And I don't know what she played, and I don't think she remembers what she put on there originally.
I want to say that Strats had either shipped with newer ones anyway with a Fender Bullet string, but I have seen them ship with Diodarios too. So I'm not, who really knows? But I feel like the Slinkies thing, it's weird, man. I've come around on the Slinkies. Like I think a long time ago, remember they'd have the extra high E string, if
Yeah,
you got like a
yeah,
set of nines or whatever. So that was
yeah,
like, well, that was nice. I mean, that was kind of what you're after. But the winding is definitely it doesn't feel like there's like a gap in it, but it does feel slinkier, right? You know what I
yeah.
mean? It does feel like a thing. And Diodarius feels like maybe I could just a little bit tighter winding. I don't know, but I don't know.
I
I think scale length is just as important, man. Like the difference between the same set of strings on a Les Paul versus a Tele, like it's the scale length it just bends different. You know what I mean?
It does.
I got a
It does.
Mustang bass, which is a short scale bass. I would never play 50s in my life on a bass, man. 50s is like way too fucking heavy. But on this thing, it's absolutely perfect, man. It's just because of the tension, the tension and the scale length is perfect.
Right. And that's what you also, every guitar is a little different. And that's the one thing that for an Ibanez, I put those Slinkies on. I played that all of my life.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think that there was a problem with it. But
yeah.
Fenders, I can definitely tell that it likes a little bit different strings on it.
Yeah. Might be the even to the frets, that was something when you like that whole RG series of like Ibanez's, man, they have that big jumbo fret wire,
right,
9150, whatever the wire is.
Yeah,
and Fenders historically don't have that, you know what I mean? And so I wonder if that slight little gap in the winding over a different sized fret wire. I mean, like who knows,
yeah.
It could be a thing, but yeah, they all feel different, man. As much as I want to be like a Les Paul guy, man, like I had friends that had Les Pauls, like those 70s ones they call like the fretless wonders. I don't know if you ever played.
Right.
It's like they're just the tiniest, flattest, most worn down. Even out the factory, they feel worn down. Back then, and I could never play those, man. I know I'm supposed to be in Nashville. I'm supposed to have a maple board telly. I can't play a maple board to save my life, man. Something about my fingers. I can't bend on one. Like it just sticks,
Right.
I just have a hard time with it. But when I see other people play it, I'm like, God damn, man, like that's like I want that so bad. But
sometimes it doesn't work style. Yeah, it's just sometimes it's just style, right? It's just the way you play versus the way they play. I think we all learn a little differently. I still have to fight putting, the little vulture neck. My thumb likes to just go up on the, and play over the strings, and I just have to fight pushing it because it's old bad habits. I
mean, it depends, man. If you're trying to play like Castles Made of Sand or something, you kind of have to do it, don't you? You got to hang the thumb over,
Yep, absolutely.
So it depends on what it is, But that being said, man, you're right about the technique though, man, because like everybody's like hand is different. I think like not only how much pressure, but like their anatomy, man. Like speaking of blues, like Stevie, like you ever seen Stevie Ray Vaughan's like his fingertips, and the way his nail bed and stuff looks? I'm just like, he's a different breed of human, man. Like he has a different hand. You know what I mean? He just has a different hand than I have,
I know. I've seen some people that have like those big old, they have ham hock fingers, and you're just like, and they're just playing the sausage fingers, and they're just playing a beautiful song.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, how do you get your hands to do that? To even get into that to where you can hold that string to where
I even look at my hands and I'm like, man, I can't even play. I don't know if I can. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I could play guitar, but like I'm just like I got big hands. How do I do that?
I think you'd be just fine, man. Dude, one of the best to do it. I don't know if you ever seen that like Danny Gatton videos, where it's like instructional videos. And that dude, I swear to God, he's like the way his hands and his knuckles, he looks like he just got out from under the hood of a car. And he's now playing guitar in this instructional video.
I know who you're talking about.
And he's like one of the most, I mean, he's gone now, God rest his soul, but one of the just most insanely just kind of like inventive players, man. Just like it's like a joke to him. You know what I mean? It's like a cartoon or something, It's pretty amazing. But well, James, if you're not playing guitar too much, what are you into? I know we're cooking, but
oh yeah, I mean I don't play any instruments per se. I mean I would like to learn how to play an instrument. I mean back in the day, like when I was in high school and stuff, I took like keyboard, I took like band class. I played like alto saxophone in band.
Nice.
And yeah, I should have stuck with it as well. I kind of just being a kid and just a teen, you're like, I don't want to do that, whatever. But it was back then. It was even talking about it. It was fun, and learning all that stuff and taking the lessons and kind of having the saxophone and practicing and doing the thing. But even younger, I got a drum set when I was young, but I never got a chance to play it. My aunt got it for me for my birthday, and couldn't keep it anywhere, and we were moving around a little bit, and so we had to keep it in my uncle's place or whatever, and that went missing. So I never saw that again. So I even took drum lessons even then, and now about 10 years ago, I took drum lessons from a guy that I went to school with. He's played in a few bands. He played in one band called Dope for a while.
Nice.
I know Dope.
He played in there for a little tour around the world, pretty much. And he lives in like Port Charlotte or Northport, and he opened his own it's called a Rock Box. So he does like music lessons for. I mean, he's hired different people to do different lessons, but like he's opened like a whole studio and like a whole building business, made a business out of it, and
man.
Cool. But yeah, I mean, I always want to learn how to play something. Is finding the time and getting to it.
No, man. I feel you on that though.
Yeah.
But did he call you chef earlier?
Yeah.
He's the bearded metal chef. That's his.
Yeah, but I didn't. I wanted to bring that up because he was like, okay, so you're chef, and then what's your nickname?
Practitioner.
Beard practitioner or rockin' practitioner.
Yeah,
love it.
Yep. I can't. So we go off of our. So me and James know each other from the bearded community. So we're all beardos, and we used to do reviews for beard products. I don't do hardly any of them at all. Have you done any beard? I don't think you've done any beard product reviews in a while either.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. It took a little bit of a break.
We all are kind of hang out in this community, an Instagram community, social media community of beardos that just got into it because we like beards, and then we like beard oil and different fragrances and things like that.
Yeah.
So me and James were actually doing beard products company reviews or interviews. And he brought in, who'd you bring in? You brought in Tanya from Kitty, the bassist for Kitty, the original bassist for Kitty.
Okay.
And we were like, this is really fun. And then we did like one more. We did Dusty Bow, who is one of Nicole's clients. And we were like, we really like doing the music thing. And so we just said, we're just going to start doing music. And it's been a blast. I mean, this is 16th episode.
Yeah, it's been a while.
15th, 16th. But just a total blast. I mean, we've just had so much fun, and it brings me back to my childhood because I'm talking about music again and not, IT work, which is what my daytime job is.
Right.
And, it's a passion that I had when I was younger. So it's got me playing guitar again, a lot more guitar. I at least practice an hour a day now.
Nice,
where I wasn't, you like when you have, I'm an IT professional, so I spent most of my time just trying to learn the craft of IT. And so I didn't have as much time because I was raising kids, and then I had to, I got a master's degree and things like that. So then this has got me back into playing again and got me back into, wanting to just be able to be in that music place again. And it's been really fun. We've met so many cool people. I mean, just like yourself. I mean, we've just been so blessed to meet just amazing people who are it's amazing to me how many amazing musicians that we've had on this show, just period. And there's just so many like you, just amazing stories coming from different backgrounds. But then they have all that similar thing. The thing that I would say is the commonality is that mentality of creating music for people to enjoy and love, coming from their soul, from something deep down inside of them, that passion that you have to have as a musician, because otherwise, if you didn't have that passion, it wouldn't keep you going.
Yeah. And I think another word interchangeable for passion is fucking compulsion. You know what I mean? Like you kind of can't not do it, on some level, like even to a point where your wife is like, do you want to watch the Queen movie or something like that? And I'm like, I do, but I know in the first 10 minutes watching it, like I'm just gonna like I'm sorry I have to go to the studio and work on something. Like I just it's so hard, and to not be like just consumed by it. But it's it's nice to hear that, man. And I think I don't know if you guys have already done it, but just speaking of like the guitar solos thing, and just even the ones that every idiot can like air guitar, that like isn't
Yeah.
even into music, like
Freebird.
we yeah, but you need like a like the bearded top solos or bearded guitar top solos Spotify playlist or something,
That would be fun. We do it. So just to let you know,
Yeah,
you're already on my playlist, but we have a Tasty Licks interview playlist on Spotify,
nice,
and
man.
we
Thank you.
just as soon as you're on the show, we put you in, so you're part of the playlist that we have, and it's so varying now, wouldn't you say? Like we have we have metal, we have Kitty in it, we have metal, we have country, we have your music, we have folk music. I mean, it's so diverse. It's crazy. We have metal all the way from like screamo metal,
Yeah.
like folk music on this playlist because we've just had so much diversity in interviews. So it's just been a blast, absolutely a blast. And thank
That
you,
is
Peter. We
definitely one of the.
appreciate that.
Got a comment on there?
Yeah, Peter. Well, we've had a lot of comments, but my dad's on here, and then Peter just gave us kind of a kudos. I totally appreciate that. We've had a really good
I
discussion.
think your dad wanted you to ask and see if you would check out one of his tracks.
Oh yeah, check out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please. Yeah,
we'll
you
have
got
to.
my email,
I'll hook
man.
you up
Send
on.
it.
Yeah, I'll throw it. I'll throw it at you. So, yeah, so he did a song. It was like a contest through a group called Medici, and he presented one of his piano pieces that he did, and he got honorable mention worldwide. I mean, he was like
Badass. Congrats, Dad.
one of two Americans that was selected in that honorable mention. They had like people from Italy, Spain, and he was, out of the world. He was one of the honorable mention, which is, of course, for a kid who knows he was talented, but I'm his son, so like I was just born around this stuff. It's just that's dad. That's just dad. Like you're just like, yeah, that's just dad. He's good. People will say he's like he's a virtuoso. He really is. He's a virtuoso. He's one of those people that just picked up piano and that was his thing. He plays clarinet and but piano was where he composed.
Yeah.
He can play a piece of Mozart on the clarinet, but he can compose and create orchestras on the piano. So,
crazy,
and that's
man.
Yeah, it's it's like me. I love playing and composing on the guitar, different riffs, different things that I love to play. And then on the clarinet, I know how to play, Mozart, whatever was playing in band.
That's awesome though, man. I've actually been thinking of like trying to pick up like what's the one that is not a bugle, but it's like a
trumpet?
kazoo. Like you make the pitch with your mouth, not necessarily is that a bugle or what is that called?
Yeah, it's a bugle. Yeah, that's a bugle.
Yeah, but I've been wanting to pick something like that up, man. I just sort of feel like because there's just something about brass, man. It's like amazing. It's like when you like you hear it on records and stuff, but then you actually hear somebody play like a tenor sax or something in real life, and you're like, holy shit, that's like the most amazing instrument, or like
music. I like live music, and I love some of the old classic stuff. Like symphony music is still amazing. My son is a musician now, so he plays the stand-up bass, which
nice.
We're gonna go. He's gonna probably transition that into electric bass here in a bit because we're gonna go buy him a decent electric bass, probably like a Jazz Master or something. But we're just like, but he's been playing the stand-up bass in orchestra, and we're just like. It's so cool to be around music and have kids that are interested in music. So
yeah,
it's.
I tell you what, man, if you can really play upright bass, man, I mean, I would say that's like, I mean, have you tried to play that damn thing? Like you, like
I have,
you know what I mean,
I have.
Dude? It's so intense, bro. Like it's
It
such
is.
a like physically involved instrument, And I was gonna say if he,
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, like, man, that's uh don't let him go full electric. You never go full electric, okay? Like no, just
Yeah.
no, man, the upright, man, is really incredible, man. And somebody that can like bow that thing in tune, you know what I mean? Because all of a sudden you
Yeah.
got that, and then next thing you know, it's like, give that guy a cello, he can do a cello. So all of a sudden he can play the jazz stuff, he can play bluegrass, he can play western swing, country, you know what I mean? Like, and
Right.
then you start getting the orchestral kind of stuff. Like, I mean, obviously, you're your own parent, and you know how to do it, but it's it's almost just like, oh yeah, I used to speak Spanish when I was a kid. I don't do it anymore. It's like, what? Are you crazy? Like, why wouldn't you be bilingual? Like,
Right.
Right. Well,
um,
that's what. So he's in orchestra. So he'll probably play. We'll keep him in the orchestra thing for a while. But then what I wanted him to do, and this is up to him. He's already asked for the electric bass, so I was cool with that.
yeah,
But I said, then you can go and gig with your friends. You
yeah.
can find a band to go play. So you can play orchestra, learn all the stuff that you can musically, the stuff that you don't learn when you're just picked up a bass out of GC and then said, I'm going to go learn tab for a while. Um,
You watch Parks and Recreation?
I
He's
do.
like, I got a 4-track recorder and every Dave Matthews bass tab. Like, what?
Anyway, I have to get going. I have gotten
Yeah, you guys got to go.
I got the text message of when are you going to get out of the heat? This has actually turned into a heat box. I don't know why my closet is. So my recording studio and my everything studio is my walk-in closet because it has really great acoustics as well as it
Yeah,
stays. All of the people in my house don't walk through it all the day.
yeah,
Um, but I just got the text of, "Hey, we're gonna come busting in there in a few minutes,"
yeah.
and it's also really hot because it's
Well, sorry to keep you guys too long.
113.
I know it's supposed to be
Oh,
an
you
hour, but
did
I had
not
the
at
best
all.
time talking with you guys, man.
Do you
It
know
was
what,
really
man?
great.
That's what matters, man. That's what we're all about, hanging out. We're happy to hang out. We're very happy to do that. But I do have family, so
Yeah,
then
I feel
they
you.
are yeah. So and we got the grandson over today, so he's asking about where Papa is.
Oh, yeah,
So
you better go see your family.
yeah, yeah. So James, any last thoughts? Any last questions?
Uh, no, I mean, I would ask real quick what I know you've written for TV and music. I was gonna ask real quick what you've written or what you kind of worked with TV and music or with TV and movies.
Uh, Man, just no movies yet. But to be honest, like if that's the concept of dress for the job you want, not the job you have, I would love to write for something that would feel like the next Suicide Squad or The Dark Knight or something like that.
That'd be cool.
Some kind of dark and epic and a little tortured. Like I'd be super into that. I'd also be super into like any sort of period piece, not necessarily like Renaissance period, but like 50s, 60s Motown, you know what I mean? Like, Detroit, kind of like any of that soul stuff, man. I would love to be a part of something like that. But as far as the recent projects I've been working on, I just wrapped up a bunch of songs for Red Bull. And so hopefully some guy will be like doing the Superman on like a motocross bike while I'm like rapping. I don't know. And then, um, done some stuff for like like American Ninja Warrior, Married at First Sight.
Okay, nice.
There's like a Disney series, Becoming, that had like Michelle Obama and stuff like that on it,
Okay,
and little scored pieces for that, and yeah, just I mean just normal kind of TV stuff. Um, I guess the end all be all would be like This Is Us or Grey's Anatomy or something. I don't know, whatever has the biggest viewership, but yeah,
That's
yeah.
still cool. I think I've watched
that'd be
Becoming. I
cool.
think one of my kids likes that. One of my kids watches Disney Channel all the time. So
Dude, the best is like doing like a reality show, and I think our age group we remember when like The Real World came out or something like that. And you're
right,
like, oh,
right.
this is reality TV, and then kind of growing up with that, your whole life, and like no shit, man, it's like it's really crazy that both my wife and my sister will be watching a show, and my sister will text me and be like, she'll be like, is this you? Like on the show, and like either Instagram it to me or hold the phone up or something. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, regrettably, yes, that's me, like, but yeah, it's
Cool, man. That's really cool.
dude, I love it, man. I love staying busy, and I love the diversity. Like I said, man, like it really could be like, hey, sing us something that sounds like Chris Stapleton, or it could be Bruno Mars, or it could be like Meg Thee Stallion, or like, I mean, it's all over the place, and I like that, and I also think it's reflective of our culture now, man. It is playlist generation, and
Sure.
dude, if it's a hot song, just put it on, man. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't have to like die in this Sepultura t-shirt anymore. You know what I mean? And just like that's the only thing I listen to, so.
I love that.
Sure.
Love that. That's the way I am too. I'm very diverse. You grow up with a music background, you become diverse. My mom was teaching opera. So
yeah,
you learn opera, you learn all the wonderful things about that, and then you can listen to some metal when you go home.
Yeah, and it's not that different, just the instrument's a little different. The notes are the same,
It's all the same, it's all the same 7, right?
Yeah.
Just recorded and made a little different for everybody. So, thank you very much, man. Jonathan, this has been a pleasure. We've really enjoyed talking to you, and this will be out on our podcast as well. So we download every week this wonderful live stream, and it will be on our podcast, Tasty Licks Interviews, as well as it'll be on YouTube for a while, for until they take it down. YouTube probably eternity. So go check it out. And he is also, again, Click Lemon and Instagram. He has a Spotify link in his bio. Go check it out. He is additionally on our playlist, so go check out our playlist, Tasty Licks Interviews, and you will find his music on there. And we're hoping to definitely, now that you're part of the Tasty Licks family, every time that I see a post that I'm not trying to rip everybody off, but I try to repost your posts as much as possible to help give you that, just to help give that little bit of, we love having, you're part of the family now. So we totally appreciate it. And we will keep posting and promoting as much as we can your music. So really big fans. Thank you for coming on. It's been a blessing.
Yeah, going, bro.
Yeah, thanks guys, man. I appreciate it so much, and we'll talk again soon. Yeah,
you bet.
Awesome.
We'll see you soon. We'll see everybody else live next week. We have another guest. It'll be fun. Thank you everybody who is out in the audience land still hanging out with us. Totally loving it. We'll see you guys next week, and again, have a good night.
All right, see y'all. Peace.